We've been an advocate for putting whole trees in the water for some time now, not on the shoreline, but taking these trees out into the water and sinking them by weighting them down. They work very well for perch spawning habitat. They also work very well for producing a carbon source. Many lakes are carbon deficient, and if you put them out in the water, algae will start to grow on them because they're a carbon source, a nutrient source for the algae, and then other organisms start to feed on this algae, snails and worms and damselflies, larvae and that sort of thing, congregate them, so it's a food source for fish. Well, my latest thing is we're going to start calling these aquatic food plots. Everybody knows the advantage of food plots when it comes to attracting and congregating deer on their property. So we need to start a program that we will call aquatic food plots and sink them in lakes. It works. We know it works. Greg Sass, who is the lead researcher at the Escanaba Research Station, gave a presentation at this year's Conservation Congress annual meeting about tree drops, not these food plots that are sunk in deep water, but tree drops that are on the shoreline. They took an hourglass-shaped lake up in northern Wisconsin, divided it in half with a partition, and they put something like 400 trees in the water and didn't do anything to the other half of the lake, and documented how the fish populations rose and fell and so forth. These didn't benefit walleye and northern pike populations per se, but fish that have nests like bluegills and crappies and bass, their numbers increased very dramatically. Perch, not so much, because like walleyes, they broadcast spread their eggs and they don't protect their young. So there is advantage to that kind of habitat in the water, but our suggestion for sinking them out in deep water gives perch a place to spawn, fewer number of predators when the eggs hatch, and the little larvae, once they hatch, they rise to the surface and they live on the surface feeding on zooplankton and phytoplankton until they're 3-4 weeks old, and get to be about an inch and a half long, maybe a little bit longer than that, and then they disperse. But it's a very good way to increase perch populations. And a study that we helped pay for in northern Wisconsin found that perch larvae, just hatched out of the egg, are a very large component of walleye fingerlings, walleye fry diets. So this is the kind of activity that we're promoting, aquatic food plots. And we hope more people will take advantage of this and think about doing it. It's not difficult to do, but you just have to have the impetus and get around to doing it.